What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and a recent update, a jury question has people from both sides absolutely convinced that their side is going to win. Although I do think that after digging in and looking at the actual question and what the possibilities are, this may be a very pro JD side. This may be very pro plaintiff side. In fact, it may mean that the jury has already decided in JD's favor. It may mean that. I can't say that for sure, but it looks like if you kind of break it apart and view it in this manner, it does look that way. So let's get into the question they asked and why people think that we may be getting a verdict even today. Before we get into that, just a quick reminder, coffeebrandcoffee.com. I'll leave a link in the description. It's my coffee company. We have 5 different coffees, including a decaf roast, 3 different hot cocos, and just in time for summer, we have delicious cold brew bags to help keep you beat the heat in the summer and still enjoy your coffee. We have new merch, 5% off on single orders with promo code The Quartering, and 10% off on orders of auto refill. Read the reviews. Don't take my word for it. There's now 408 reviews of people who actually bought the product and have spent reviews. There are people that did video reviews of it, everything. So check it out and support the channel. As we know, YouTube will bury this video. So the jury has come back with questions. What is the question? Well, it's kind of convoluted, but I think I can break it down to you. So the jurors in the case have come back with a question on Tuesday as they continue deliberations in the high-profile case. The 7-person panel was confused by one question it needs to answer, as it determines whether or not AH did defame her ex when she wrote the Washington Post op-ed in 2018 describing herself as a, quote, public figure representing this type of behavior. The question was whether they found the headline of the op-ed, which read, quote, I spoke up against something terrible and faced our culture's wrath, whether or not they found the headline to be false. Now, Judge Penny Escarda told Fairfax, Virginia Court just before 2 p.m. that the jury was asking the question related to just the headline itself, was asking if it's just the headline itself or the entire op-ed. She said she would instruct the jurors that they were to consider the headline and not the op-ed as a whole. The statement is the headline and not the entire op-ed, the judge said. In addition to the headline, jurors have been asked to consider whether 2 phrases within the op-ed defamed the star. In the first passage of the op-ed, she wrote, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing this kind of bad behavior, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath. In the second passage, the Aquaman actress wrote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of bad behavior. According to the verdict form given to jurors, the jury has to consider whether the headline and the passages were about JD, and if they were false, whether each of them has a defamatory implication, and whether she intended it to smear her ex. Jurors have to also weigh if she acted with, quote, actual malice, which requires clear and convincing evidence that she either knew what she was writing was false or she acted with reckless disregard of the truth. They must come to a unanimous decision, of course, in the $50 million case. I think that the unanimous decision is entirely possible. And the reason people are reacting, so some of the reaction here is the real Laura B, who's covering this very deeply. Okay, you see here, she writes, they've come back with a question. Is the title and the statement, or is it the entire op-ed she tweeted about? Judge ruled that it was only a title. Emily D. Baker believes that if they are questioning finding instructions, then they must be ready to make a decision. Now, Emily D. Baker writes, the jury has a question, finding instruction C, which goes to the headline and asking if the statement includes the whole op-ed or just the headline statement. Does this mean they are discussing each statement to render a verdict? I think so. This is the strongest count for depth. Then you see the DUI guy also tweeting this just a few minutes ago. All is quiet on the Western Front. Everyone's kind of waiting. I would be surprised if they came back today. But you see this. Based on the new information that we've received from the juror question, here's where I'm at. They have already decided that all 7 are Team JD at least. Now they want to make sure they apply the law correctly, and then comes the damages. And you see here, also writing looks very promising. Juror has a question about finding instruction C. That's a count for JD. Maybe they will come to a verdict today. I don't know if that necessarily means, but you see here's the actual form that they're talking about. Just to put that in perspective. Tilda B writes, I just want to point out that the jury was discussing the question if the statement was false, meaning they already checked yes on question 1A. So question 1A says, do you find that JD has proven all the elements of defamation? So if yes or no, it says if you answer question 1A no, please proceed to question 2. If you answer it yes, then you're good. If you answered yes, please answer yes or no to the following questions. So if they answered yes, which is, okay, so let me break this down. If you answered yes, then you must answer these additional questions, right? And what was one of the additional questions? The statement was made or published by her. The statement was about him. The statement was false. The statement was defamatory. If they're asking specifics about the statement being defamatory, then they must have likely clicked yes here. That's what people are saying. So a lot of people are saying, oh my God, this is great. Excellent spotting. But now if you look at some of the more mainstream coverage, some people are saying this is good for her, but I don't know. I don't really buy that. You see this person, Pope Alexander, saying seems like this is a positive for AH if they're being asked to focus on the headline. It's confirmed she didn't write. I'm not sure. I don't buy that way. I think if they're asking about the specifics in the section where you say if you answered yes, then they probably answered yes in section 1A. Then they have to answer the statement was made or published by her. The statement was about JD. The statement was false. And then due to the circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than JD. I'm gonna say that they probably did answer yes. And some people are thinking, okay, are we going to get a verdict today? Well, it's already, what, 3:30 there at the time of recording this? So it seems really unlikely that we would get some sort of verdict today. Probably be tomorrow, although, they may just stay and get it done. Like, if they're close enough, they may just say, forget it. Let's just go. Let's get it. Let's go after it. Let's finish it. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. What do you think? I think based on the fact, again, I want to point out that the jury was discussing the question if the statement was false, meaning they already checked yes on question 1A. The question was, do you find that JD has proven the elements of defamation? I think that's a very reasonable leap. And if that's true, and then they're just going through kind of the bottom questions, this is probably very bad for her. Now, I think it's possible that they could, come out and say, hey, you did these bad things, and then award him no money, award him half of the money, award him, maybe just the money from Pirates. It's difficult to say how much they would, but I don't want to count the eggs before they're hatched. You see, DUI Guys Plus writes, I'm screaming, this is absolutely the strongest counter. JD, the fact that they have a question about that points to their mindset. Again, the jury asked for clarification on the headline of the WAPO op-ed. The question was, is the headline a statement or representative of the whole op-ed? I've heard some of the lawyers at the courthouse debating what this means, so hopefully Burkhart Law can weigh in. Just for clarification, the answer to the jury was the headline is simply the potentially defamatory statement. I don't know. I'm still, you know, on the fence. I don't want to count any chickens before they're hatched. I think we can all agree that the article itself was damaging to his career. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not somebody gets held accountable for those statements. I guess we'll have to sit back and drink some hot cocoa or some tea from coffeebrandcoffee.com and decide exactly what we think. I appreciate everyone's support on the coffee, and if you've left your if you've gotten your product, please do leave the review. I want to get up to 1,000 reviews by the end of the month. Probably not going to happen, but we're going to get close at least. So thank you for supporting me there, and we'll talk to you again real soon.